Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a little bit different video than normal. This kind of falls in the lines of advice and tips for starting out your freshman year of school or just starting out high school. So this year I will be going into my sophomore year of college. So I've been through all of high school, I know what it's like, and I'm just going to give my 2 cents on the matter. You can find a ton of videos on tips for high school and the first day of school and stuff like that, but just in case you were wanting like a different perspective, then you guys can go ahead and watch my video as well. Keep in mind that these tips are not restricted by any means just to people who are about to be freshmen in high school, but these tips, a lot of these tips actually can apply to you if you're just in school in general, no matter if you're in college or you're not even in high school yet. And of course, all the education systems are completely different depending on which country you're in. So just kind of as an intro, I have kind of 3 different brackets. My first one is things that I feel like would be good to do before school starts, like during the summer. And then the second bracket I have is things to keep in mind during the first day of school, like what you should be expecting and like some tips. And then the third bracket is things to kind of keep in mind during the whole year of your freshman year, or you know, whatever grade or age you are. I would definitely recommend going to an orientation if your school offers one. I did an orientation my year and it was so helpful because my school had just been newly constructed as I was entering the 9th grade, and it was actually under construction, which was a big bummer, but definitely take advantage of an orientation or like a campus tour if you get the chance. Go with a few friends, or even if you don't have any friends starting out, that's okay. I didn't have barely any friends. I maybe had 1 or 2 starting out of high school, so that's alright. Like, we'll get to that later, but anyway, my school was so confusing, and it's like there were 4 different buildings, each of them were 2 stories, and then there were like different crazy puzzly wings coming out from all these like square buildings. So it was just so confusing, and that's just so helpful on the first day of school. You kind of remember sections. It's okay if you don't remember like the whole tour, because I never did, but if you just remember little sections like, oh, I think I used this staircase, then I mean anything is seriously helpful on the first day of school. It's better than not knowing anything. If you can, try and research your high school's policies. For example, like the cell phone policy and the dress code policy are 2 big ones. I know at my high school, cell phones were not allowed. Even during lunchtime, you weren't allowed to get out your cell phone. It was a very strict policy, and if you got your phone taken away, your parent had to come to the office and pick it up and like sign a form or something, which thankfully never happened to me. But yeah, that's something that you definitely want to read before school starts, because that'd be so embarrassing if you got in trouble for something as silly as like bringing out your cell phone during class. Look over policies like that, and again, like with the dress code, you wouldn't want to be wearing like a spaghetti strap if you're not allowed to. That is, I know at my high school we weren't allowed. The dress code was pretty strict as well. So definitely keep those things in mind. It just kind of saves a little bit of embarrassment, because the first day of school tends to be a little bit nerve-wracking to begin with. Okay, the next rule is kind of a funny, silly one, and you don't really have to take it into consideration if you don't want to, but I know at my school, there was always this one person who would just walk so slowly, and I mean, if you walk slowly, that's okay, but if you're one of these people, maybe just go to the side of the hallway, because it's so kind of irritating if you're like walking slowly down a hallway and then there's like a huge crowd trying to get past you. Then people have to weave in and out, and then it just gets into like a big like cutting off like traffic mess. So try and not be that person on the first day of school. And I know I watched a video kind of similar to this one. She mentioned that at her school it was really irritating to her whenever people would just stop and talk in the middle of the hallway. So try and be considerate of your peers when you're walking through the hallways. That's just kind of a silly one. It's not like a big deal. This is the most important tip that I have in this bracket, and it's ask around. So that means ask upperclassmen. Even if policies and teachers have changed, you're going to get some kind of basis for what to expect. So try and ask anybody you can. Again, if you have older siblings who went to the school, obviously take advantage of their knowledge. Or if you have friends who have older siblings, try and just ask them like, what teachers did they like? Even if you have a teacher that they had, you can ask like what are some tips for their class. Just anything like that would be really helpful. Probably the number one tip for this whole video is to make friends with upperclassmen, because they are going to be your saviors. This is for the first day of school bracket. So this is all the tips that I feel are good to know for the very first day of school when you're all nervous and you don't know what to expect. And just trust me on this one, everyone is as nervous as you. Even the popular kids are really nervous, and I mean, some people hide it better than others, but you're definitely not alone when it comes to being nervous on the first day of your freshman year. So don't worry about that. Everyone feels the same way you do. My number one tip would be to dress for comfort. And of course, everyone wants to look cute on the first day of school, and that's great. But again, following the dress code policy is always a great idea. But also, I wouldn't recommend wearing stilettos and, just like a really skimpy outfit. I mean, I feel like you could get attention the wrong way by doing that, and it might not be the best first impression. I feel like a really good tip is to bring a cardigan or a zip-up jacket, kind of like the one that I have on, just something that will zip up. I know a lot of schools have just an on and off switch for their air conditioning and heating. So my high school, it was just absolutely freezing. So it might be a good idea like to bring in your backpack just like a cardigan or a zip-up hoodie, just so you're not freezing through all of your classes. And I know that whenever I'm nervous, I hate being cold. It just makes me even more nervous. Be punctual, which means being on time, of course, and just know when each of your classes start. It's really, really helpful. Actually, I highly recommend this, is to keep your class schedule with you at all times. Almost every student you'll see will have their class schedule. It's not embarrassing. Nobody knows where their class is. It'll have your room number of your classroom and everything on there, so don't be nervous to have that in front of you. So yeah, that's a good one. Definitely don't be late. It's not a very great first impression, so of course you want to put your best foot forward on your first day of school. My next tip is to definitely do not freak out if you don't have classes with your friends. I remember my sophomore year of high school, I had all of my classes with 0 people that I knew. Everyone was from the other branched off middle school that collaborated with my high school. I knew no one in any of my classes. I had some acquaintances that I had seen before, but no one that I was close to or felt like really comfortable talking to on the first day of school. So don't worry about that. You will make new friends. You're definitely going to talk to people in the classroom, probably whether you like it or not, just because a lot of classes have like group activities, and you're definitely obviously going to talk to like your neighbor, like if you have a question for homework or something like that. So you will make new friends. It's not a big deal. Everyone is probably in the same boat, so definitely don't worry about that. My next tip that I really can't stress enough is to smile on your first day. Nothing is scarier really than the first day of school and you smile at someone and then they just like don't smile back. It's just like, okay, I was like making an effort, but if somebody does that to you, don't let them bring you down. Usually people will smile back at you, as you'll find. Just smile, and I wrote down confidence. Like I said, everyone's going to be nervous, but you can fake confidence, and I love this quote that just says, fake it until you make it. So that basically just means fake the confidence until you actually are confident, which studies have shown that if you fake acting a certain way, then you eventually turn out to have that emotion in that moment at least. So just kind of keep that in mind. Just kind of smile if you're nervous. There's nothing wrong with smiling at somebody, and who knows, that smile might help someone be a little bit less stressed. So it's really a win-win to smile at people. That brings me to my third bracket of this video, and that is the during the year bracket, which are things to keep in mind during the whole school year. This first one is especially important during your freshman year, though, I feel, and it's to get involved, whether that be sports, clubs, volunteer activities, anything. What I did my freshman year, I got involved in Key Club, which is a national club. It's kind of like a volunteer club, and a lot of people were involved in that in my high school. There were about 1,800 students in my high school, so I mean every club had a lot of members in it, so it was really easy to make new friends. Honestly, you'll hear this through college and everything. making friends is the easiest if you join clubs and sports. It's just something that brings everyone together. They have like one similar interest, and that interest is sometimes enough just to like get a conversation going. So definitely highly recommend to join a club or join a sport, even if it's like an intramural sport. If you even have never tried a sport before, just go ahead, maybe like grab a friend or something and try a new sport, like something that doesn't require a lot of extra money. If you haven't tried this sport before, like tennis for example, you can get like a tennis racket at Walmart, which is my favorite sport. I'm not biased, I swear. Just try a sport or something like that. The other clubs that I joined were photography club. Kind of think outside the box. If you feel like you're not good at sports, then think about like, what am I good at? Am I good at creative writing, drawing? At my high school there were clubs for almost everything, and if there wasn't a club for it, then my school had the option of like doing a little petition, and then you could make your own club if enough people had like signed the petition. So see like what your school offers. You never know, and it doesn't ever hurt to ask. Attend sporting events. Even if you are a brand new student in a school and you know absolutely no one, you will share the school spirit in common if you go and sit beside just a random person at your high school sporting event. Just a football game. I know at my high school football games were so much fun, and you would just wear like the school colors, and it was just such a blast. This is a huge tip, especially for high school, and it is to avoid drama. And no matter really what grade you're in, you're going to get drama here and there. Even if you're not in school, just in everyday life, of course there's going to be drama. You have a choice to be involved in drama. So I personally was involved in zero drama in high school, and I can proudly say that because there were several, and I mean several, opportunities where people would start rumors and everything, and I just chose not to be involved. And that means turning the other cheek when you don't want to, and not seeking out revenge to the person who caused you pain. It's a very tough thing to do, and of course, I mean, you're going to be your own person at the end of the day, and you need to just not care what people think. You're going to hear that over and over, and I'm sure over and over again in these advice videos, but I mean, of course, it's nice to care what people think who you respect their opinion, but if you don't know this person and they're starting a rumor about you, why would you respect what they're saying about you? So, the way that I kind of stayed out of drama was to turn the other cheek. And if somebody said something bad about me, like, this was my mindset. I couldn't care less what you think about me. Like, it's almost scary how much I couldn't care less. I remember one time somebody told me that I smiled too much, and I just laughed. And I mean, as ironic as that was, that I laughed and smiling at the same time, that's just kind of my attitude. I'm just like, great. I mean, if they don't want to smile, then that's wonderful. They don't have to smile, but they can't stop me from smiling, and I'm never going to stop smiling. I know, like, for a second it got me down, and then I just thought, you know what? I don't have to let that get me down. So, you have the same exact choice. You do not have to get involved in drama, and just remember that if somebody is gossiping to you, then there's probably like a 99.9% chance that they're gossiping about you as well. That's one of my biggest tips, is just to stay out of drama. It's not worth it. It's just a headache, and it's just distracting, keeps you away from your schoolwork, and yada yada yada. My last tip is basically, don't feel rushed to make friends if you don't have a whole lot of friends starting out. Like I said, clubs and all those things, your friends will come to you. Basically, your friends will choose you, and you don't really have to think like, oh, I need to be in this clique. Oh, since I'm a cheerleader, I need to hang out with the cheerleaders. You do not need to like just confine yourself to that. Branch out. There are tons of cliques, which I hate that word, but there are tons of different groups of people who would be absolutely thrilled to accept you into their lives as their friend. Just don't feel limited to a certain group of people just because of like the way you dress or which sport you're in or whatever. So that is my last tip, and this is a really, really long video, but I really hope that this video went into a little bit more depth. Maybe you can just pick and choose different tips that you liked, and maybe you can apply them to your incoming year as a freshman, or just your life in school or out of school, whatever. So I really hope that you guys liked this video. I'm just gonna say that if you stuck through the whole video, then I would totally give you a hug if I could right now. And you guys are awesome if you stuck through this, actually, because this is just a big blabbering video, but I really do appreciate that you guys took the time to watch this video and hopefully give you guys some ideas for your high school year or whatever grade you're in. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!